Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Rise Up with Ivy and Calla.
Where spirituality meets practicality. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Ivy.
And I'm Calla, and I hope you all are doing wonderful.
And I hope everybody has really kind of started to like this week of energy talk and energy work and all of that. I always love this piece because this is where I feel like I sit here and just listen to
No,
you
you're
talk.
not supposed to sit. It's supposed to be about perspectives. And so I don't want to just be the only one talking. It's got to come from you also.
I understand.
Plus, we see things differently.
I have my yellow pillow.
And why do you have your yellow pillow?
It is my solar plexus. That's my area that I feel like I'm constantly working on is that solar plexus area. It's like the sun. I'm usually eating bananas, or I do a lot of citrus baths or citrus oils to kind of work on popping that solar plexus up where my self-confidence and self-belief is.
What we're going to do today, we're going to talk about the 7 main energy centers or the 7 main chakras. We have over 100 chakras in our body. If you want to go into all of them, more power to you.
So why do they only focus on the 7? Because I know they have ones in our ears.
Correct. I think because those are, I don't know the reason. I think it has to do with it because those are the main energy ones.
So those are the centers.
The 7, the core.
And then they all go out.
Branch out like branches. So think of them as tree stumps.
So essentially it's like putting a Band-Aid if we're working on different chakras, but here we're resetting our system.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Chakras, depending on your beliefs, depending on your paths, some people believe that there are energy centers and some people don't. For me personally, with me being a Reiki practitioner, I feel that I can't do Reiki without centering the entire body, which includes the energy centers.
Well, and if you think about it, our body is electricity. That's like if somebody has a heart attack, right? They put the paddles and they put a jolt in there.
Right.
So our body is electric.
Yes, definitely. So our 7
electric.
We have, as I said, we have 7 main ones, and each one is responsible for specific mental and physical aspects of your body.
And spiritual as well, right?
Yes, physical, mental. That's it. Physical, mental, and spiritual aspect of your body. Thank you.
Mind, body, and spirit.
And you really can't have one without the other. They all function. They all interchange. And so when one is stagnant, the others start overworking or underworking, depending. And they're like gears. I want you to imagine them as gears. And when in my class, I tell people, when people ask me, what does energy healing do? What does Reiki do? I want you to imagine that everything is going well in your life. You're happy, you're go-lucky. The kids aren't getting on your nerve. Your husband is all lovable. Just everything is at peace. You have this stream of water going down your back, and it's nice and peaceful and bliss. Every so often, you have these darn beavers that start building dams in your stream and start causing blockages.
So the water doesn't go through.
Right. Those blockages, that starts where emotionally and or physically things just in your outside world start acting up. You start getting irritated. The kids are getting on your last freaking nerve. Don't touch me. It's just everything around you just, So what energy healing does, knocks out those dams so your stream can start flowing more naturally again.
So when we're talking, and I know I got my Reiki master through you. So some of the questions I'm asking is I kind of already know the answer, but we want to kind of have this discussion. You can have overactive chakras.
Yes.
You're talking about overactive and underactive. So say my solar plexus, the yellow, is kind of in an underactive. I'm anxious. I'm feeling a loss of self-confidence,
Mhm.
etc. What would overact and what would that do to me?
Cockiness, feeling overconfident. What's the word? I conceited.
Okay. Egotistical?
Yes. Goodness, I should have had my cheat sheet because I knew you were going to ask me something similar.
No, but I think that's important because
there's a balance. There has to be a balance.
right.
There is always.
But isn't that a hard place to be? Because here's the thing. There is a fine line between underactive and overactive.
Yes.
Kind of like the love and hate thing. So how can you tell the difference? So if we, okay, so today I'm feeling a little less confident than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have confidence. Is that cocky or not cocky? Where does the line get drawn on those?
And then it also depends on how a person is receiving it. Because I may very well be feeling myself, I may be very confident, but Mary Sue may think that I'm just extremely conceited.
Because they are dealing with something in their own,
yeah.
So they're underactive. Boy,
yeah,
that's a lot.
It's a lot. And I don't have an exact answer for that, where the line is.
And that's a hard place. So I think it goes back to, we've talked about this the past couple of weeks, even with the empath stuff. It goes back to knowing yourself and then trusting the people that are surrounding you that know you well, where they can be like, okay,
take it down a notch.
Yeah, you're a little cocky today, or egotistical, and really relying on that side of things. When you say again, it's about making sure you know what is status quo for you, spending that time to know. I think especially when we are stepping into spirituality, we hear a lot of people, I want to open my third eye. I want to open my third eye. And I get a little concerned for people with that when they're not trying to balance everything else.
Right.
So your third eye chakra is the one that allows you to see what the physical eyes cannot. So your gifts, essentially. So when people are like, I need to open that third eye, I'm thinking, how are we with heart and solar and sacral and grounding and crown and blah, 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 blah. Because it's awesome to want to do it, but if you're not in alignment, you're going to cause some issues as well.
Definitely. So we skipped over a few.
I know.
Should we start from the top or the bottom?
You're the Reiki master. No, I am too.
Yeah,
I am too. But
okay, so we're going to start at the crown.
That's my favorite.
The crown is your connection to source. Whatever it is that you believe in, God, Buddha, Jesus, whatever.
Your ancestors.
Yes. That is your super high, your communication highway to that higher power.
Right. And that's right about right above your
it's a couple of inches from your skull.
Okay. So emotional and physical headaches, especially if they're on the top of the head.
Yes. Headaches is a huge one.
It's almost like you're getting too much information, but you're not letting it go through. So you're holding it.
Feeling out of your head.
Well, that's all the time.
Lightheadedness.
Dizzy, vertigo.
Yes. What else? Just not feeling you kind of feel stuck in the sense, spiritually.
Like where you're feeling like you're not getting the communication back and forth, or I'm not connecting as much as I'm trying.
Your wisdom. You're not understanding something.
So let me ask you a question. If your crown is usually off, and I know I'm going to the very extreme of this, wouldn't your root be off too? Because so it's kind of like the top and bottom of us are kind of really at odds. It's like at fighting.
They are all connected, and so I would imagine so.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, well, you pick for me for root. Root is obviously connected to all of them, and again, we skipped over. But
I know, but I was just.
But yes,
when we were talking about being out of our head, to me, if we're out of our head, yes, it is the crown. but it's also because you're not grounded at the same
Right.
time. So again, remember, there is a fine line and balance that everything just, everything has those opposites, light and dark, you need it all to become one.
Right. Our third eye.
It's where our gifts are. Oh, wait, we forgot the colors.
Oh, okay. So
Purple is the
purple is the crown, color of royalty.
Yes.
In some
Divinity.
casts, yes. Some people say white.
So now I'm going to throw another little oopsie in there. I know that the soul chakra, which is above that, and that is where they come into number 8 and 9. But that seems to be white. But yes, I do hear a lot of white for that.
Yeah. As far as eating wise, how can we? Should we? Yeah.
We gotta hit each chakra. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, how can we enhance
purple grapes?
Purple grapes.
I go to the color of the food, the grapes. I also say a lot of superfoods, even the like chia seeds and things like that. Necessarily, I kind of look at those superfoods as an all helpful. But when it comes to focusing, grape juice, grapes. What else is purple?
Eggplant's purple.
Eggplant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I like eggplant. As long as it's in Parmesan. So anything that has that deep purples and foods, and I cannot think of another purple food to say. Beets.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm not eating beets.
I'm eating grapes and drinking grape juice. Okay, third eye.
So our third eye is that's our seeing without seeing.
Yes, and the color is indigo.
Yes. That is, I guess that is your, I would say your second gut, your intuition.
That's your eye. That is that third eye that allows you your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clear smelling. I will tell you, if it's overactive, I get massive headaches, like these type of headaches through here. A lot of times the headache is also behind my eye. So we talk about different things. If I am not trusting my intuition of what I am seeing, I'll typically have it behind my left eye. If I'm not acting upon what I am seeing, quote unquote, I'll get it behind my right eye. And that's but if it's overactive for me, I will again kind of feel out of my head. And that again, that is learning what you and your body is, what your body's trying to tell you, because everybody again is different. Everybody is different. And so just because she has something behind her left eye may not necessarily mean the same person, but you would have it also. But when you say headaches here is a typical way of if it's overactive. What about if it's underactive? To me, you're not seeing anything. Right, it's almost a vacancy. Right, it's not clear. It's vacant. You feel you're not, and those are going to be the people that I would say that kind of look at things in this perspective, right? They don't believe in the gifts. They don't want to see things for whatever reason it is. It could be the fear itself. Something happening at a younger age, etc. But they're the ones, and I'm not judging because I used to be this way, but they're the ones that are going around the world, and this is what they're seeing is. I want to say something because both of us have done it in the past, or we have both said that we don't have imaginations. Or visualization. Right. And that comes from the third eye. I have imagination. I have a tough time visualizing. Yes. So our words matter. And that's been my issue. I can imagine a lot, but visualizing is definitely an issue. And I can remember we had a client one time that came in, one of our clients, and he looked at me and he said to me, because I'm like, I can't visualize. So when it came to meditation, I can't meditate. I can't visualize. He's like, keep saying can't and you won't. Right. And I will tell you, there are times that I'm very open to visualization,
Mhm.
and there are times that I'm very closed off to visualization. Are you getting to the point where you can?
When I feel like if I'm listening to somebody and they're telling me, is a lot easier than me trying to do it on my own.
Or if I'm in a place where I'm doing a reading, for whatever reason, like in my reading rooms, the moment I would step in there, all my fears, all my everything disappeared.
Mm.
I trusted everything that came through, whatever I would see, even if I was going to seem weird to the person I was reading for. If I smelled something different, if I saw something, I would immediately open up and ask. But out in the quote unquote real world,
Right.
where I wasn't in that safe space, all of a sudden that kind of disappeared, and I had some struggle.
So, indigo,
deep blueberries. I mean, that is one of those superfoods, and blueberries to me, again, are phenomenal when it comes to that.
Food is energy. It's just not on a nutrition level, but literally, food is energy. And if you want to revamp your system, if you want to regroup, if you just feel overall stagnant, focus on what you are ingesting.
Also, look at essential oils. Essential oils are great. If you look at frankincense and myrrh and things of that nature, that herbs, mugwort, it stimulates. So if you're not maybe a food person and you're like, I don't know about trying all these different foods, look at essential oils. There are a lot of books out there for herbs, for herbal remedies, and for essential oil blends to help to kind of open that area up.
And okay, so you are right now you're holding on to a yellow pillow because of your solar plexus, but you could very well, if you were having third eye issues, you could be very well grabbing. We don't have one here, but
I can put on my glasses.
there we go.
Have some dark blue.
Yes. And so depending on what you are wearing, do chakras, the colors,
stones.
Yes. There are so many different things that you can, tools that you can use to
and we're going to talk about all those tools tomorrow, aren't we?
Oh, we are?
Aren't we going to talk about sounds and foods and things like that? So we're going to get into that tomorrow.
So next, let's see, we did that throat. Oh,
I think 9% of the human population has the throat issues.
So your throat, communication, how you are saying your words, swallowing your words.
So one of the things that you taught me was it's not only saying things, but it's saying things in a way that people are more receptive to, watching how you word it and always coming out regardless in a love capacity.
Right. Adding that heart into the words that you are saying is very important. Yes, they are still need to, whoever you are speaking it to still needs to be able to receive it. And that's on them, how they receive it, but still.
But if I'm like, Calla, not that I've ever done that. But that's, if I'm shouting at you, you're not even going to attempt to receive it.
Right.
But if I come from a place of love, and one of the things that I would tell people is, Sai and I used to drive to the shop separate, because throughout the day, you're going to have things that are going to go on, whether it's the clients, whether it's just life in general, kids, etc., that pop up. And we would each drive separate so we could drive home and speak it out into the universe to release it. And an hour or two later, if it was still there, then I knew it was something I had to have a discussion on.
For your throat chakra, it is so important not to swallow your words. Right. Because on the physical aspect, swallowing words that need to get out of your system will cause physical issues, whether it's thyroid issues, strep throat, sore throat, allergies.
Headaches that start at the back of your neck, right there. That is another area for that. And when you swallow your words, then let's think about it. Remember the first time you said I love you to somebody? how exciting it was or that you wanted to say I love you, and it was like, oh gosh, what if it's too early?
Mm-hmm.
What if they don't love me back? What if they bolt the other way? And we hold it, and finally comes the time that you say it, and you're like,
it's a great relief.
And then you're like, I love you, I love you, I love you. Well, the same thing happens when we hold in words of things that have hurt us too.
Right.
My feelings were hurt because of this. Now, the person who said it may not have intended to hurt them, but we're taking it and we twist. And I don't mean twist it in a way, but our mind does.
And we interpret things different. Everybody interprets stuff differently.
Well, then our heart, it might affect our heart because it reminds you from when you were a child of something that happens. And all these old things start coming up, or current things. But regardless, the more we hold on to it, the more we're having issues in your chest, and in your heart, and in your solar. And it becomes a spiral effect.
Now, I just want to point out your chakra energy is not just centralized right there. I want you to think of your body crosswise. I don't know how horizontal. Cut yourself into horizontal slices. So it's not just that centerpiece of your throat. It's also your shoulders.
So that makes sense because on the this is exciting for me because on the metaphysical cause of issues in our shoulders, it's when we're trying to take on too much. We're holding up the world. What is happening? We're not asking for help.
Right.
Thank you for the light bulb.
Because you have that weight of the world feeling in your shoulders. Right. Because you are not verbalizing what needs to happen, what you need.
Right.
You are holding it in. You are swallowing your words down. And that causes that angst that you feel in your shoulders.
Good things for this, believe it or not. I don't know about turquoise food, so I can't help you, but I focus on peppermint and lemon all the time for my throat chakras.
So I wanted to look it up because I was trying to think ahead. You were right about peppermints, spearmints, but according to the coconut oil.
Oh, I put that on
coconut
all the time.
Oil, honey. Think of stuff when you have a sore throat.
Hot tea.
Yes.
Wow. I just had so much to see, and that's why I love these talks because there's always growth.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. So think of it when you have a sore throat. What would you gravitate to when you have a sore throat? That is the things that will benefit you with
now some overactive too. I want you to know, be careful. Like, when you sing songs at the top of your lungs in the car for and you're singing and your throat gets that soreness, we have to be careful because that's also overactive.
Right. Miscommunication. If it's stagnant in your throat area, some of the signs, symptoms, whatever you want to call it, miscommunication, misunderstanding, a stifled voice. We had a client a couple of years ago that literally lost her voice. We both had sessions with her, we both told her that she needs to let stuff go. She needs to say what needs to be said. And a couple of days later, she lost her voice. Yeah. And so it's just.
Yeah. And I remember that. And it was really difficult for her to actually speak that stuff. So what happens when you don't want to speak it to the person maybe that you need to? It's fine, but get it out. This is when you connect to divine. You connect, so you release. So a lot of times I'll be like, I just need to release this. I don't want to spread this energy anywhere, but I just want to release this so it no longer resides in front of me. I give it to you. A lot of times at the ocean, and I imagine it, or I might write it and read it and burn it and allow it to go away.
That's what I tell my clients a lot, is to write the stuff that you can't physically say for whatever reason. Lord knows, I know that there's stuff that it would just cause so much more angst in my life if I physically say what needs to be said. So I have to write stuff down. And I have a burn journal where I literally write stuff down that cannot be said. I read it not to myself. I read it out loud. and then I burn it. I give it to God. This no longer in my system. You're getting it out of your system.
You know, and I talk to people a lot of times when it's old stuff from family stuff. You know, they've mended places in their family. If you don't want to bring that stuff back up because they don't want to hurt anyone. So then write it out.
Yes. Yes. Very, very, very important to have your voice.
Okay. Solar plexus. I think we've talked a lot about this today.
You skipped one.
Oh, shoot. My heart. Yes. How did I forget the heart? I think because I don't look at the heart as a chakra. I look at the heart as without it being in any aspect. So it just is included in everything.
You have to have the heart. It needs to be in everything. But yeah, heart is your next chakra. The color green. Some people use pink, right? Some people do use pink, and that's what I was just about to say. It's all, it's still there.
From what I understand, though, the physical aspect of the heart is green. The emotional is pink.
That is what I was taught. Yes.
And then there's 3 levels in your heart, but that's going way too deep into that. But avocados,
cucumbers, kale, spinach. Popeye loves his spinach. I'm not a spinach person.
I can eat spinach. I just ate collards the other day. They're not good. They're all right if they're burnt and crispy.
Okay.
Where
are you? Where are you eating collards at?
My husband made collards the way they were supposed to be. And I was like, no. He crisped mine up and they're all right. What other? Broccoli. Okay,
I still need to go back to how does he cook the collards?
He made great collards for him. Okay. And then I did not like them. So he crisped mine up and something. I don't know, but they were good. He makes Southern collards that are really good. I apparently don't like Southern collards.
Okay. I forgive you. I'm saying, so that's your heart center. That is, one of the heart terms that I use with a lot of my clients, they have a giving heart. They give, and they don't get it in return.
But that's so, I think that is also a way we're raised. It's hard to accept gifts. And I remember one of my teachers at one point telling me, but do you realize when you accept a gift, you're giving a gift to the person who's giving it to you? So I was like, oh, if I'm giving them a gift, then I can accept it. That still isn't the right reason.
Right.
You have to be able to be willing to accept. And that's a hard place for people.
Yeah. Or you have to be around people who are giving.
That too. It really, the heart chakra, like when you're looking at when they're overactive, there's heart issues. Right? Blockages is underactive. Is that correct?
Yeah.
A lot of times the worry of monetary, believe it or not, goes into the heart rather than doing things from love perspective. You're doing it. We have a cat. I'm going to take this because I don't want her to but when we're doing things because of the love of things, not of the love of love, that causes issues, correct?
Feeling of unworthiness.
But wouldn't that be connected with your solar plexus too?
They're all connected.
Which makes it even more. But to me, that would be if I'm feeling unworthy, depending on why I'm feeling unworthy, when you go to the root cause of it, if it's, I've always felt that since child because of this and this, that might be more heart issue.
Yeah. Physically speaking, heart issues is a big thing. And if you are having heart issues, go to a doctor.
Yeah. So again, I tell people, and I know you do, I had a lady that came in one time and earlier, as we were talking the empath, I felt like I had an elephant on my chest and I was like, oh my gosh. Well, she walked in and said, I feel like I have an elephant on my chest. I'm like, we called, 911 and she was having a heart issue. She was like, oh, I thought it was just chakra. No, listen, when it comes down to things, do not hold medical intervention.
Right.
It's very important. Hi, Magic. You came to join us. All right. And, but don't withhold medical intervention. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly. And that is a huge one right there. Just, yeah, definitely. Right. So the color green,
right,
or the color pink. Foods, we discussed the foods: kale, spinach, collards, dark leafy greens. Fruit, green apples.
So I'm so glad you just brought up apples. For whatever reason, when I'm melancholy, I crave apples. But every time I research, they say apples are for a root chakra. But I feel like for some reason, my body is craving apples.
Then guess what? Eat apples.
So follow the natural craving, just like if you're craving protein, if you're craving citrus, or needing that vitamin C, your body already knows what it needs.
Right.
You have to listen to it.
I know when I have a full day packed of sessions, my body is craving protein. I need it within like the first hour. I'm going stir crazy of protein. I used to relate the feeling to red meat originally, but I personally am trying to veer myself away from that. So getting other proteins in my system.
Mine is fish, like tuna, mahi, things like that. I crave like seafood. Same concept.
Yeah. Okay, so now solar plexus.
But I think we've already talked about the solar plexus.
Solar plexus is yellow. It's right behind. It's right underneath. I don't know what you call this. It's a couple inches above your belly button.
That's where your ribs come together.
Yes.
Right in that area. That is your solar plexus.
That's your solar plexus. Where you have butterflies at?
Yeah.
That's when you get butterflies, anxious about something or nervous about something. But that is your self-worth. That is your self. That's your feeling of self. Whether it's doubt, love. That's your self center, your core.
Right.
Yeah.
Bananas, lemons. I do a lot of that. Orange juice. All right. Your favorite one. What pillow are you sitting on? Not that she needs any of this.
Why don't I?
Well, because yours is very active.
No, it's not. Trust me. It's not.
Oh,
anyways.
It's very underactive. It's underactive. Sacral chakra. Orange. Carnelian is a great stone. People who have digestive issues. If you remember, for the longest time, I was wearing carnelian every single day. I would have digestive issues. And I remember the very first time that I understood what Reiki was and chakras were. We were in Savannah, and my stomach was upset. And I was like, ooh, what is this stone? And at this point, I didn't really know stones. And all of a sudden, you heard an audible pop, and that stone exploded in my hand. I ended up having to step out. I got sick outside the store, and then I was fine. And the lady was like, well, obviously you needed that. I was like, what happened? I broke your stone. And, ended up getting the stone and got about 5 more. But that was the first time I really understood how stones correlate with chakras. That was in the beginning of it. And it was really amazing to me. And so carnelian for me was a big piece. You would see me wear it almost all the time until I was able to work through a lot of that.
So sacral, that is your source of creation, creativity, sensuality, passion.
And I would talk with people and say, when we were in readings, are you being sexual or enjoying sexual? Because there are some people that just, live it through it. If you're not being sexual, if you're not being creative, then why would you expect you to be passionate?
Right. And it's not just a physical body thing. It's creativity in your work, creativity in play. If that is stifled, if that energy center is stifled, then your outside world will be stifled. Wouldn't you agree? You're in a dead-end job. You are not enjoying. You're not enjoying life. You don't have any, you're working to work, but you don't have any passion in it.
So my encouragement to everyone is find one thing you are passionate about and begin to build on that. Because if you find that passion, that to me also feels like where depression comes in, like in that sacral area.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it's, for me, I feel like that's the hardest one to stoke. Because when you're depressed, when you feel lackluster in life, if someone says, come on, let's have fun, you're like, yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's the one that you're really 100% fully responsible to ignite on your own.
Yes. So how can you, Ivy, how do you ignite your sacral?
I hate. I'm PG. Now we're going to go to rated R. And I just spilled my coffee again everywhere.
So I tell my clients, look, dance.
Oh, I
You
do.
can
I
dance.
do love to dance.
Move those hips.
Even if you're a guy,
Mm.
okay, get that out there. Move that stagnant energy. Whether you're just jamming to music, but get lost in it.
Yes. Obviously, have sex.
What
Or-
if you're not with a partner?
Well, there's Bob's.
What if you're a guy? Never mind. I don't need to ask that.
There's, you can, what, Babs. There. No. It'll still be, I don't know, battery operated boyfriend. So Boggs, battery operated girlfriends. There you go.
And if anyone has questions, they can reach out on reconnectyall.com.
No,
But tantric massage, things like that, music. I know even, as someone who has gone through my change, so postmenopause women specifically, and even men who hit a certain age where their testosterone is dipping, they have to find that way to get that emotion up. They have tantric music. For me, it's taking a bath, listening to that and allowing that to work through. So then I can.
Sometimes it's just a matter of figuring out what excites you. It does not have to be sexual. Not at all. What makes you feel sensual?
Because sensuality and sexuality really is not for your partner.
Right.
It is for yourself. I will say this, though, there is, when I used to work for the American Cancer Society years ago, and they have a program called Look Good, Feel Better. And it was all about teaching women who were going through, when they had mastectomies, and they were going through chemotherapy and radiation, to allow themselves to make them feel sensual, putting on different wigs, teaching them makeup tricks, because it's a proven fact. If you look good, you feel better. It's the same thing. If I even will notice that if I'm doing too many days where I kind of, as I say, I'm in my homeless hippie look, because I love that. It's so comfortable. But if I'm not doing makeup and I'm not wearing earrings, or my nails are all chipping, or I don't match underneath, you know what I mean? Then I feel like I do not have that sensuality. But if I'm taking that hot bath and, making sure that I'm taking care of myself, and that puts me into that kind of a mood, which then changes things up, whether it's for the outcome of sex or not, it still changes the way I feel.
Yes, definitely. And, it breaks my heart when my clients, when I ask them, what makes you feel sensual? And they don't know.
But I think that's because, again, and what a conversation we may have to have for another time, is trying to reprogram ourselves.
Because it's not about the other person.
Yeah, but even at that, okay, for example, and I mean no disrespect, Mom, I love you, you know this, but the way my mom grew up, they didn't talk about sex.
Right.
So when it came to that conversation, she and I did not have that conversation. So it wasn't about being sensual and feeling good about ourselves, right? And that's a taboo subject. Holy crap, how long ago was it that I could finally say,
she can't say vagina out loud very often. She's doing better.
But I mean, and here I am, a week away from 50, and those words are really difficult. Why? Because it was the way I was raised, which again was the way my mother was raised. It wasn't an open conversation. Right. So it's reprogramming. So if you say, what do I enjoy? I could be like, I enjoy this or I enjoy this. You say, what makes me feel sensual? And all of a sudden and it's a closed up thing because that's supposed to be private.
Are we really going to have a conversation about this?
Sure.
Okay. I'm just saying. She put it out there.
Okay.
We're having
so as we move forward in this, remember, we truly, hey, Justina, we are going to hit some of the tough conversations. And I think that's a way for us both to grow.
Yes.
And because everybody knows where both of us have our own issues of conversating, and that would be mine. So we will. So stay tuned.
Okay. And last but not least, I know we are way over our time.
Are we?
Yeah,
oh,
yes,
wow.
we are. Last is our root. Our root is our security, our foundation, our stability, our safety. If any of those are out of whack, and you would know how they're all connected because,
and you can either have it underactive where they feel out of their head, anxiety ridden, etc., or overactive where they're stuck in the mud and won't, really make that move, and they're stubborn and it's my way. So how long are we over?
We're at 41.
Should we just keep going?
That's
if we want to do an hour or just end it here.
Well, no, we keep going.
And then we'll just do one less this week.
Yeah, we'll just keep going.
But I think that root chakra, I know, for example, like you make a root oil that is to die for, and I do need some more. And I will tell you, how many times would we have clients come in, or for me, it was right before they came in, and I would be like, and you have to roll it on because you can feel the energy of somebody else. And then you feel out of your head, disconnected with your heart, lack of self. To me, that root, if you don't have a strong foundation, the rest is just shot.
Yes, definitely. You have to have that foundation. You have to have those roots planted.
So almost like if it's an overactive root chakra, wouldn't almost everything else be overactive? Like you would have more anger, which would be overactive sacral, because if you're in the stubborn place and you're not moving, which would then lead to overactive solar.
Yeah. It's all connected. It is all connected.
Hence why her website is reconnectall.com.
So how do we get out of that? How do we get those, as I said, I like using the term juices flowing for the root chakra. How do we help ourselves when we realize that we are out of our head, when we are filled with anxiety? How do we help people ground?
So I will tell the best way for me because I will say my root, my solar plexus, those are the areas that I, have in the past really had to work through. And when you're in the midst, and to be quite honest with you, I even told you this morning, I woke up and all of a sudden I felt like I was going to have a panic attack. And my husband, bless his heart, he always tries to help me through it. And he's a fixer.
Yes, that's what men do. Men want to fix.
And he'll say, come here, let me fix it. Well, then what happens is it doesn't fix it because only I can fix me. And then it hits his solar plexus and it
hits his ego because he wasn't able to help.
And out of a loving way,
right?
Not out of an egotistical way, but he just wants me to be okay. Anxiety.
Keep going.
Anxiety for, okay, so this is interesting. So anxiety can be a difficult one. I do think of, eventually we kind of peter out, where depression's harder, I think, to get out of. Anxiety, you're going to eventually spiral out. But some of the things that he has done, and like, he'll be like, let's go to the beach. I don't want to go to the beach. Let's go to the beach. I don't want to go to the beach. He'll make me go to the beach and stick my feet in that water and ground. And sometimes that's what I really need.
Getting into nature, getting barefoot. It doesn't have to be the beach. I know everybody doesn't have that luxury of the beach, but getting your feet in dirt, sitting in nature, soaking up. And I said this the other day, soaking up sunbeams, soaking up moonbeams, just sitting in nature to help ground yourself.
And then I use some grounding techniques. I use 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 that I was taught, and I teach everybody that.
Go ahead, explain that.
For me, it's walking around. What are 5 things that I can see? And it's out loud. So I will say, I see Calla, I see the microphone, I see the computer, I see my TV, and I see my chair. What are 4 things I can touch? And I will literally, my pants, I'm touching Calla, the difference on the pillow, and then our mouse. 3 things I can smell, and I walk around and I smell 3 things. If I'm not at a place that I can, then I begin to smell my clothes, my deodorant, my oils. 2 things I can typically, when I am anxious, I say grounded, because see it, believe it, know it, it becomes. And so I will say I'm grounded. If I'm depressed, I say love, because at the core of my being, I know that's who I am. And I have to just remind myself of that. And sometimes I have to do it multiple times.
Right.
It's not just a one and done. And I can remember there was a time that I was in my bathtub and we were having unexpected company, and I all of a sudden wasn't planned for it, and my anxiety was over, and I did it over and over and over, because the moment I would stop, my thoughts would come back. So I would do it again. Now, it brings you to the present moment.
I want you talked about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but something I wanted you to bring up also is how, when you are having one of those moments, how do you breathe?
Okay. So everybody who watches this hears this. However, when we take deep breaths, especially if you deal with anxiety, take that deep breath in. Take one in. Mine only goes to about above my breasts, that top area. Because with people with anxiety, we do not exhale fully, because we're constantly holding our breath, waiting for the next thing, right, where our bodies are in fight or flight. So it's about releasing. So about 4 or 5 times a day, you won't see me here if you're watching me, but I literally lean my body over my legs, and then I exhale fully and forcefully, and then sit back up, take a deep breath. And as I am, it's going into that diaphragm.
So we as humans, we don't breathe. We don't intentionally breathe. We breathe because we have to. And unfortunately, we need to incorporate more deep breaths, because that is something that we are not taught to do.
And I truly believe, like, people, again, this is just my philosophy, people with COPD, yes, there's issues. They've smoked, things like that. But again, they're never taking that deep breath. Why do people smoke? It calms the anxiety, even though it helps the anxiety. They're never taking that deep breath. And you've seen me multiple times having to exhale and then come back up. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's what it feels like to get a deep breath.
Yes. So breathing is, I would say breathing, obviously breathing is the number one thing that you need to do for all the chakras. Take a deep breath in.
Think about when you're having a panic attack. How many stereotypical people have you seen get a paper bag, breathe in and out of the paper bag?
Yeah.
One, I don't know the medical reasoning behind that, but I do know I'm all of a sudden looking at a paper bag and I'm watching it go. It doesn't do anything for me, except I start to focus on the breath work.
Yes. So for the root chakra, color red, fruits, vegetables. Apples. Yeah, there you go. Apples. Red, rutabaga, rutabaga.
What's a rutabaga?
It's a red root thingy. It's good.
It's a red root thingy.
Isn't it the rutabaga?
I don't know what a rutabaga is. That's why I asked.
Isn't it rutabaga and strawberry pie? You never? Okay.
Okay, I like strawberries.
Okay,
so we're gonna say strawberries.
See, I'm looking it up now. Yes, rutabaga. But they also say sweet potatoes, carrots, root foods.
So that's
foods
interesting.
that come from the ground.
Yeah, that makes sense because like when we do like a stuffed potato night,
Mm.
everybody does like regular potatoes. I love a sweet potato.
Mm. Yeah. So things that are on a root, turnips, parsnip, onions, rutabagas, ginger, turmeric tea. Yummy.
Interesting though, but I'm looking at, ginger is for digestive also.
Mm.
So if you're not in a calm place, your sacral and your solar are all off, hence the digestion, hence the ginger. Because it's all connected.
It is all connected. So definitely root color red, and helps with it, as long as it is active, as long as it's going, as long as it's stirring, you are at a calm place, you would think. Yeah.
Right? I'm listening. You would think.
You would think. But it also depends on what's going on with the rest of them.
Yeah, because again, like I said, I think there's that fine line of we go from not feeling safe to being so determined in your own thought process, so grounded that we can't move. So again, everything is going to be about flowing, knowing who you are, and knowing what your body needs. Now,
I tell people when they come in for a Reiki session, I scan them originally to see what, as they come to me, how they are feeling and what's going on. And then I scan them after a session. And then we talk about, I give them homework assignments to help them move on throughout their day. But just because they are nice and balanced when they leave my table doesn't mean once they leave the door, they're going to receive a phone call. The kid's going to get on their nerve. Husband is being annoying, whatever. Or wife, yes, being annoying. And then something is going to get stirred up again. And so it is a constant, your chakras are constantly in motion.
So it's kind of like our aura changes at any given moment. And the one thing I do want to go back to sacral area, I know we skipped some of the issues that could come from it. Sexual drive issues.
So you just threw me off.
I know, but I don't want to forget that. But it's still that same, you're constantly moving. Everything is constantly changing. So my question to you is, if I get a Reiki session from you and I feel great, and then I come home and something has happened with one of my children, am I going to still be great? Or is that whole Reiki session I just had messed it all up?
No, I think you're going to have, as I said, you're going to have homework assignments. You're going to have little tips and tricks to help you. You're going to be more aware of what is going on with your whole system, so you can help yourself. My goal is, it would be totally awesome for you to come see me every other day for a Reiki session. Kudos in my pocket, but realistically, I want you to be able to help yourself. So I am going to give you ideals and help you be able to get things flowing the way that they need to.
Okay, so Reiki sessions. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, right?
We're going to talk about tools tomorrow.
Then Reiki will be a tool.
Yes, Reiki is a tool. You had mentioned, I'm sorry, I got to go back to the sacral temporarily.
We're all over the place.
Sorry, because you brought up a point about ailments with the sacral area. With the sacral, obviously, you introduce sex, you're introducing somebody's totally different energy. Okay. And that can introduce stuff that you don't want in your system, whether it's a disease or energetically just
a disease.
Yes. And so you want to be able to flush that out, get that out, and different ways to help you. I love you.
I love you too.
Energetically, yes, Reiki will help. Physically, a bath, just like you would to cleanse yourself. You want to cleanse everything.
Oh my gosh, I can see how red my face is.
For us women, we have the wonderful yoni steaming.
Right.
Yoni steaming is a great way to energetically and physically cleanse that area there. And so there are different tools that you can use to help yourself.
And cutting cords is going to be a big one.
Yes.
Being careful whose energy you're introducing.
Yeah.
They talk about, I can't believe I'm going to say that. They talk about, the physical implications of not using protection and things of that nature.
Your body, your energy field knows if this is the right person or not. You walk around with BV 360 days of the year. Guess what? Probably not the best person for you. Just me saying.
You walk with what? What did you just say?
BV is bacterial vaginosis.
Oh, okay. What's good? This is fun. Oh, I love you. So yeah, that's probably not the right person. But even you have to, sometimes there's a need for connection. I think people sometimes just need to feel like they're connected with somebody.
Right.
And that's where just be careful of who you're connecting with.
Yes. It makes a difference. On that note.
So, just so you know, because we went an hour today, which completely went over, but welcome to the Chakras. We will have one more this week that we'll talk about, and that'll be tomorrow. We'll have a couple days off, and then we'll be talking next week, and we'll have to figure out what people want to talk about.
Thank you all for joining us. Ivy and Calla here at Rise Up,
where spirituality meets practicality. Many blessings.
You all have a wonderful day.